So how many of you guys like to shoot on cinema glass? Today we're talking about the ZEISS Otus series of cine glasses that are essentially custom made from the good folks at Canada Film Equipment. And we're talking about the 28mm, we're talking about the 55mm, the 85mm,
and the 100.
And today we shot with Sara Olas here in the studio. She's a phenomenal ballet dancer. And we had a chance to test out these lenses on the Canon C70. So let's check it out. So welcome back, and we are talking about cineglass. Now, cineglass is a very particular style of glass that you can incorporate traditionally when you're doing cinematography or if you're doing any kind of high-end filmmaking. These lenses are not for photography per se, although they probably could be used for photography, but they come, or they're known for their clickless aperture as well as their clickless focal ring, and that kind of gives you this infinity style pull to the lenses.
So people try to find reasons to use cineglass. I love cineglass not only because it makes your production look a lot more expensive, which it kind of does because these lenses are not cheap, but they're beautiful. They're beautiful to look through. With zoom cineglass, there's barely any breathing compared to regular photography glass. They're heavy, so I like shooting with a heavier rig, helps with stability. So that's one of the reasons why I love cineglass as well. And just the image quality, the flares, they're just beautiful pieces of glass.
Yeah, you get that natural look to them, and especially with this, I popped a Polar Pro filter matte box onto my C70 when I shot, so it has a nice kind of pro mist look to it. And then you combine that aspherical style of shooting in the cine glass with a pro mist filter, the result is really quite exceptional. And these lenses are not straight out of the box per se. I mean, these ones have been adapted and also configured to work on an EF mount because natively they're for the Nikon ZEISS mounts. But in this case, we have an EF mount adapter that's been custom made by Canada Film Equipment. So huge shout out to Mayron and the team over there for giving us these lenses today to review. And essentially, these lenses would be perfect for any sort of, well, what, music video?
Yeah, music videos, any kind of film production, video production, any higher end production where you're looking for crisp, clean images, these lenses are the ones to go to. You can get really pinpoint accurate focus with these rings. And one thing we do recommend is a bigger focus wheel for focusing, because if you have a small one, you're gonna rotate that thing probably 2, even 3 times to get around the entire focus ring. If you have a bigger focus wheel, you have an easier time of getting around the focus ring.
Yeah, Erica's rocking out the Tilta mini focus wheel, which is great for many cameras if you're doing a run and gun style shooting. But with these, I mean, you're turning for days in order to get that focusing in place. And disclaimer, these lenses do require a fair bit of attention when it comes to pulling focus, just because of the fact that their sensitivity. And we also forgot to mention that they have an aperture of 1.4. Like 1.4 is insane for being able to get that shallow depth of field, the crispness and quality of that kind of look to really separate the subject matter from the background. So, I mean, it's hard to find a 1.4 in cinema glass. Like I've had a couple lenses in my possession that are about like, what, T2.1?
Yeah, 2.1. We have this Surrey. Yeah. Surrey. We have the Surrey, and that's a 2.9 aperture. And then we've seen a lot of 1.9s, 2.1s, 1.8s, but 1.4s.
That's special.
That is special.
Yeah, I mean, if you're shooting indoors and low lights, you would be hard pressed to find a better match for an f1.4 aperture on a lens of this type. Now, that being said, these lenses are not cheap. I mean, if you look at making a lens of this particular quality, and regardless of that, f1.14 stop and all of the lenses in the series, I mean, that really drives the price up. And a quick disclaimer on price, I mean, these lenses retail for roughly around about $5,000 a lens. So the kit, you're looking at about, $20,000 for a set of 4 primes, but that's an investment. And in this case, Canada Film Equipment probably, in our mind, is the best place to go for film rentals in Toronto or even in Ontario. The guys at Canada Film are fantastic. They're knowledgeable. They give you the best quality service. Your gear is set and ready to go. Plus, they'll also walk you through it. And one thing I like about that kind of peace of mind is if you have a big shoot and you're not familiar with the gear, when you go to a service, many of them just drop off the gear to you, and it's like, you know, have fun, go shoot. Whereas like with Mayron and the team at Canada Film, they'll walk you through it to make sure that you're familiar with it, you're comfortable before you take it out the door and start your shoot. Let's talk about build quality. I mean, build quality is basically the definition for every single, you know, piece of gear you're looking to get. But in this case, it's all metal. Like there's nothing plastic on these particular lenses. Even the adapted rings that have a rubberized coating to them, they're rubberized coated plastic on top of a metal filament. So you're not looking at any kind of breakable parts. This is heavy duty, durable film equipment that could be used on multiple EF cameras. So not just on like a Canon C70, but like on an RE or whatever else that has the mount adapter for EF. A Canon C200, C300, all that sort of stuff.
Any of the Canon series, even the Reds that are EF, and you can always buy a mount for EF glass. It's pretty common, so you can use these with almost any make of camera. So we're gonna take a look at the lenses in action. We're gonna show you guys all 4 different focal lengths that we have here, shot on 2 C70s with our friend who's a ballet dancer, and you guys let us know how it looks.
Let's roll. So what did you guys think? So that essentially was shot in a controlled environment indoors. We're utilizing practical lights and we're also utilizing a softbox, but these were shot all the way down at f1.4. So we opened the lens completely up to get as much light as possible into it. They're fast lenses, like we were really impressed with that. The one note I would make is that there's a lot of pull that you have to get for focusing. So it does require a certain amount of attention, especially when you're shooting at such a low aperture, to make sure that you are in focus. But I don't know, I kind of like that out of focus, in focus look.
It adds to a shot rather than all the shots being nailed perfectly. You know, a little focusing out, focusing in, it adds character.
It does, it kind of like sets the mood, especially if you're looking to kind of get a dreamy state, which in this case we were looking for. So if you're looking at renting these lenses, because let's be honest, that's what this is about. If you're looking at renting these lenses from Canada Film Equipment, the price point on their website is $350 for the day of a rental. Now, if you check below in the bottom description, we're gonna put a promo code down there that will get you a deal. If you call to Canada Film Equipment and say that Steven and Eric sent you, Mayron's gonna give you a discount. So if you take into consideration when you price out your film shoot, lenses are always essential pretty much dictates what your film's gonna be, if it's anamorphic or if it's gonna be a spherical lens, right? In this case, it's a really great value to know that you have 4 separate options that are uniquely different in each case, because that focal length of 28 to 100 covers the full spectrum. You've got your wide, you've got your close, you've got your medium close, and extreme close, I guess.
The 100mm is pretty tight.
Yeah.
And then the 28 is perfect for the width.
Yeah. Indoors, outdoors, definitely recommend them. I don't think they're weather sealed. I wouldn't test that. I mean, I'm not 100% certain.
Yeah,
so
especially with rental lenses.
Yeah, you always want to make sure that they're in the best quality possible when you're renting lenses that are not your own. But I would say that they're well built, so you know that they're going to be reliable on set and not breaking down. So as you can tell, lots has changed here on the channel. We have a new studio, which we still haven't done a walkthrough yet, but it's going to happen eventually. And what we're going to do is we're also going to bring in more equipment from Canada Film Equipment. So big shout out to Mayron and the team there for giving us these lenses to check out and review. Now we're going to work with these lenses obviously, and we're going to work with some Canon lenses and some other primes that have come our way to test out both indoors and outdoors, to kind of give you an idea of what it might look like to work with this, because narratives and filmmaking and music videos, it's not so much the camera, but I think it's the glass that really dictates.
Glass makes a huge difference with the quality that you output with your camera.
Yeah.
You can have a fantastic camera, but if you don't have a fantastic lens to match the quality of the camera, you're letting yourself down a bit. When if you want to just have full potential with what your camera can do, get some amazing glass.
Exactly, and having that aperture point of f1.4, the full range of 20mm to 100 is such a selling point, being able to nail every lens in the kit. It's only 4 lenses, it's not 6. I find that sometimes these 6 prime lens kits can be a bit of overkill. And even using like a parafocal lens, like a 55 to a 120, like a DZO Films makes one, I think. Yeah. Those are great lenses, but again, your aperture point is like 2.8 or something.
Yeah, it's not as low as a 1.4.
Yeah. So if you find this review helpful, please hit the like and subscribe button below and drop us a line if you shoot on cinema glass. It's something that's unique, but it really elevates that process of filmmaking. And in this case, check out the ZEISS Otus lenses. Peace.